Welcome into Ion Northeast Kansas, the podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Bruner. This is where we recap some of the top interviews you saw over the past week on Ion Northeast Kansas, the TV show. You can watch it streaming live Monday through Friday, 4 o'clock Central Time from our WIBW TV studios in Topeka, Kansas, the capital of the great state of Kansas. And one of the great things about living in the capital city is the partnership with the Kansas National Guard's 190th Air Refueling Wing. You can look up in the skies about every day and see some of their aircraft flying over, and sometimes some special guests that pass through town as well. Well, the 190th currently has their KC-135 refuelers, and they are among the finalists to host the next generation of refueling aircraft. This is a process that's going to take several years, so we're named a finalist. Then we recently hosted a site visit, and then the decision gets made not until like about 2027 is when we might start hearing about who gets the aircraft and then when they're going to arrive. So we are finding out why this is so important and what the capital city is doing to get those aircraft here. Juliet Abdul is the president of the Topeka Chamber of Commerce. She visited the Red Couch in our studios along with the commander of the 190th Air Refueling, Colonel Kent Crane, and the deputy commander, Colonel Marjorie Durkees. Here's what they had to say. Thank you all for being here, and this is kind of a big deal. If we look at historically, Juliet, why is the 190th and the Kansas National Guard so important to Topeka as a whole?
Super significant. So if you look across the state of Kansas, there are 6 different installations that are here. One of them is located, of course, with the Kansas National Guard at Forbes Field. The 190th is naturally there providing economic impact in terms of the service members that are here, their traveling spouses, the spaces that they occupy. There's so much good that comes out of there to protect our nation and to protect our community, and we've always had that symbiotic relationship with them. The Chamber has actively worked with our Military Relations Council to liaise between those that are in service and our business community and look for opportunities to develop that defense ecosystem, to encourage and grow workforce opportunities for those traveling spouses and those transitioning out, and of course making sure that policy is very friendly to our military members.
Colonel Crane, refueling has been the 190th's mission. What are the aircraft that we have now, and what's going on with it that makes trying to get the Pegasus so important?
Sure. We currently fly the KC-135 Stratotanker, which the Air Force and the Air National Guard have flown for going on 60 years now. So it has brought the fuel to the fight, if you will, for aerial combat for many decades. But that's what it brought was the fuel. The follow-on tankers and any follow-on aircraft like the KC-46 is bringing much more to the combat zone than just the fuel. It's bringing communications platforms as well as some defensive suites and different types of integration capabilities to all of our other assets out there. So that's why it's time to grow. It's time to grow with warfare and time to grow with the defensive capability for our aircrew that are out there answering our nation's call.
You still have some refuelers that date back to the 60s, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Speaks to your skills to keep them flying and flying well. Why is it vital and important that Topeka perhaps actually win this aircraft in this next generation, Colonel Durkees?
So the state of Kansas, the 190th is our sole flying mission for the Kansas Air National Guard. So this would provide longevity for a manned crewed flying mission for the state of Kansas.
If we don't get this aircraft, is it reasonable to think maybe we lose a refueling wing or a wing here in Topeka? What could happen?
I would argue no.
Okay.
The air refueling is the backbone of aerial combat. It's how we get globally all around the world for our fighters, our bombers, our transports. And the demand for air refueling is not going anywhere. It's just that the face of it is changing. And just like any new phone or car, you're bringing more capability to the aircraft, and that's what we're looking to do.
And this is what the Pegasus looks like. We are trying to land, I believe, 8 aircraft. Is that correct?
Correct.
Folks were on site yesterday. Walk us through that site visit. What's the case that you're making? What does Topeka have to sell?
So what Topeka has to sell, what the 190th has to sell, is the cost of rebuilding or building the infrastructure that maybe needs to house KC-46, but also the infrastructure that we already have currently. Our strategic location is a huge thing. We're located right in the center of the United States. We're the furthest west candidate of the 7 candidates. And we have such a great partnership, not only with our Army brother and sister, the 184th down in Wichita, who is also part of the Kansas Air National Guard, but the Topeka Chamber, the Greater Topeka Partnership, Go Topeka, the school districts. Those types of things just make us second to none, in my opinion. And also our proven capabilities and what the 190th brings. Our people, they innovate, they excel just at everything that they do. And it's just so exciting to be able to showcase them and Topeka and the greater surrounding area.
Well, we look forward to keeping posted and updated on what happens with this. 2027 is when they expect to make a decision, so a little ways off. A lot of work will be going on between now and then, and we'll keep in touch with all of you to find out exactly what happens from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Again, there is a lot more to come, a lot more work to be done, and then that decision still a couple years out on whether we will land the new refueling aircraft. And we, of course, will be following along and keeping in touch with that process. Of course, a lot of people use the National Guard as a way to get education or training to find a job. There is another way that the Kansas Board of Regents has developed. In fact, it not only helps students gain practical experience, it also helps businesses get some of those projects they need to have done, get a little help with them. It's the Kansas Micro-Internship Program. Tim Peterson with the Kansas Board of Regents visited to tell us about it, along with Jaron Caffrey. He's with the Kansas Hospital Association, and they actually have been partnering with the Micro-Internship Program. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And Tim, checking up with you, the micro-internship program, what led the Regents to even develop this? What was happening with businesses and with students?
Well, there are a number of reasons. We were actually managing a traditional internship program funded by the Kansas Department of Commerce when COVID hit, and so everything went remote back in 2020. And we were looking for something that would be a little bit more available to both students and businesses. And we stumbled across this company in Chicago called Parker Dewey, and we partnered with them. And so we're just trying to connect more Kansas students throughout the state with more Kansas employers, keep them in Kansas.
And the micro-internship means what? What makes this a little bit different than what people might think of as a traditional internship?
It's a question we get a lot. It's like most internships, except that these are very short-term specific programs, projects that can be done remotely. About 98% of them are done, so you don't need a car to get there. They're also time limited, which means it's not a fixed schedule. A student can do it at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, 3 a.m. in the morning. They just need to meet the deadline that the employer needs.
So the Hospital Association hears about this, Jaron. What was attractive to you, and what did you start out doing to partner with this?
Well, so initially, I didn't even know what a micro-intern was. And so I think it was about a year or so ago, had met Tim and our team had learned what is a micro-internship. We did a pilot ourselves and realized this is great. It really isn't maybe having someone deal with the things at the low level of priorities, but maybe in the middle rung of things, and a micro-intern can do a project from afar, and it really kicks out something that otherwise our staff might not have the ability to do. And so as we're looking at workforce challenges across the state, this has really been a great way to hopefully help some students get some exploration opportunities into a lot of careers that they otherwise might not know about.
And people might think, what does that even mean? So when it came to the Hospital Association, what have you had some micro-interns do?
So we've only had one project, but it was more of a research project that essentially we needed to get a lay of the land of all 105 counties in the state of Kansas on how are counties and local governments supporting healthcare, basically. And so that was a project that somebody from Dodge City had applied. We had them participate, and they took about 20 hours and did that, and it was a great takeaway, and it fulfilled even beyond what we thought we might get out of it. And so we thought there's probably a way that we can use this in a lot of other ways too.
So important work, but work you needed to have done, and for an existing staff member to take 20 hours of time and call every single county and compile all the information, not something you necessarily could have put on a priority list if not for having an intern.
Exactly right. Yes, it's not something that we wanted to get to eventually, but this really helped make it months potentially ahead of time.
So how does it help a group like the Hospital Association in terms of, did they have to pay for this person, this intern, to do the project?
They did not. We have funding from the Department of Commerce, and we initially had funding from the DeBruce Foundation in Kansas City. We currently have another large grant from the Strata Education Foundation that's paying for really any project that a two-year student is doing. We use the Commerce funds for the university students. And the first 5 projects for any Kansas organization or entrepreneur, absolutely free.
So you pay the intern,
Yep.
or do you? Okay. So it's good for the intern too, because they get a little cash.
Absolutely. It's a fixed fee, the project, based on the number of hours that it should take, which is cost out at $20 an hour. Student gets basically 90% of that, or $18 an hour, whether it takes them 10 or 20 or 30 hours to do it. But the important thing is it gives them paid professional experience, and it connects them with real-world employers doing real-world work.
Are you looking for more micro interns now then, Jared?
Well, we are actually. We have a project that any student across the state of Kansas can apply towards, and really it's focused on career exploration. And so it's a project that healthcare specific. You complete a few micro lessons online, and then we at KHA will match you, the student, up with a hospital to be able to really have a conversation with hospital staff, learn about career pathways, and ideally then that student will be able to take that away and figure out maybe if they have an opportunity in healthcare ahead of them.
And really quick, Tim, what other areas besides the Hospital Association might people find micro intern opportunities?
If it can be done remotely, it can be done through micro internship, IT, HR, digital design, communications, business, finance.
You name it, they got it. And that's why employers, if you're like, hey, we would love to have this program, go to kansasmicrointerns.com. That's where employers can find some information. And students, there's the website where you can check out what might be available. info.parkerdewey.com/Kansas Micro Interns. A fascinating program, a lot of opportunities out there. Tim, Taryn, thank you both. Appreciate you telling us about it.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Be sure to check out the links if this is something that could be right up your alley, whether you're a student or whether you are a business in Kansas that wants to see if you can take advantage of this. We have a lot of great organizations around our area, and one of them is Lifehouse Child Advocacy Center. They work with the most vulnerable victims and witnesses of crime, our children. They have a campaign that they do every April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month, as well as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. They call it their Heroes Campaign, enlisting community partners to raise awareness and help support their cause. Kelly Durkin with Lifehouse visited the show along with my co-anchor, David Oliver. He is back for a second year as one of the Lifehouse heroes. Board member Mike Bush joined them. Welcome to all of you.
I'm a guest today.
You are a guest
on the
today.
other side of the whole equation.
So you have to
here.
let others speak first.
Yeah, you guys
David.
go first.
Kelly, for those who aren't familiar, Lifehouse Child Advocacy Center, what do you do? What is your mission?
So we're a child advocacy center, and we serve child victims, as you said, child victims of crime. These are victims of sexual abuse mostly, kids who are victims of severe physical abuse, and then kids who may have seen a homicide or witnessed some kind of violence. And so we get involved early in the case, and we provide the forensic interviews of the child, and then provide advocacy throughout their case.
And of course, the key element with those interviews is so that way they don't have to do several with
Correct.
every single different person or entity that needs to speak with them.
That is correct. We have the trained forensic interviewers, and they do it in a child-friendly environment. And you're correct. The law enforcement who are investigating the cases and Department for Children and Families investigators are there, and we have that person who is trained to do it. So we do it one time in a child-sensitive way, and so that child and family aren't going around place to place to place and repeating and re-traumatizing. So, yeah.
Important work, and of course important work always does take resources. So Mike, as a board member, you've kind of been involved from the beginning. You've been a hero before. What's the point of the Heroes Campaign and the concept that you have?
The point of the Heroes Campaign is to bring men of the community and speak out against this child abuse, speak out and give a voice to Lifehouse, give a voice to these children. A high percentage of abusers are men, we found out, so we want to see good guys in the community like Dave step up and speak out against.
And really set the tone of being positive role models for
Correct,
kids.
that is correct.
Absolutely.
Yep,
So you have people like David, and David, what are you doing all month long?
Well, you know, Jared Broyles did this a couple of years ago. I was fortunate to be asked last year, and I'm going to be on board again this year. And what's interesting is, you know, with what we do here at WIBW is really in line with what Lifehouse does too. Because in journalism, which Melissa and I have done for many, many years, one of the tenets is giving voice to the voiceless, which is what exactly is happening with Lifehouse. They're giving a voice to the voiceless. And so we are proud to be on board once again to help raise awareness, raise some money, if you will, use our platform to help educate everybody out there about the important work that you all are doing and the services you're providing to area kids.
Mike, how many heroes do you have this year?
We have 17 heroes this year.
Wow.
Yep, each with a goal of $2,000 each. So
We were so fortunate last year. We had a wonderful WIBW viewer who saw our campaign, our awareness issues out there, and gave some significant money to this campaign. We had some wonderful guys a part of us last year, great guys this year. Our DA, Mike Kagay, has been doing this for many, many years. He had to step out this year. If you're a Mike Kagay supporter, I want you on my team. So look me up on social media. This is a contest too, and it's a fundraising contest. So I need you, and go to my Facebook page. I'm going to put a link on there, and you donate through my page. If you were a KGay supporter, I need you on my team this year.
We're going to put up, and Kelly, for people who want to donate to any of the heroes and find out who the heroes are, what are some ways that they can do that?
You can follow us on Facebook. We will start on April 3rd. We're going to start highlighting each day a hero, so you can learn about each of our heroes. We will announce them all tomorrow on our Facebook page, so you can see who they are, and then we will highlight each one of them every day. And then you can text right there on our screen, Lifehouse, LH-hero, to that number, and you can pick your hero that you want to donate to, and that will go to their fund, because David's right, it is a contest.
we joke around, but obviously we're raising awareness and great resources for Lifehouse, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a good program.
Absolutely, and we will have those links, that information on WIBW.com, so folks can check out all of the heroes. Some great work you're doing, Kelly, Mike, David. Appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.
Check out the Lifehouse Child Advocacy Center Facebook page or their website. It is a great organization, a very worthwhile cause, one of those that kind of operates in the shadows, behind the scenes, that you hope you and your family never personally have to know about. Great organization, great cause, great campaign. Check them out. We're going to meet some real life heroes and the way they want to get other young girls to follow in their footsteps in a moment. Back here on the Eye on Northeast Kansas podcast with some real life heroes from our local fire departments. 3 women who are behind Camp Courage. Camp Courage is a project of the Topeka Fire Department. There are other fire departments around the country who host programs like this. It is aimed to empower young ladies and maybe even inspire them to a future in the fire service. And our guest showed that it works. So visiting us to talk about Camp Courage was Brandy Menninger with the Topeka Fire Department. She runs the program there. Fellow Topeka firefighter Brianna Droege and Anna Newman, who works with Shawnee Heights Fire. Welcome to all of you. This is so fun. Okay, so Brandy, what is Camp Courage? What is this all about?
So basically, Camp Courage is a camp for young girls, specifically ages 16 through 20. It gives them a chance to come see what we do as firefighters, because it's not necessarily a career they would normally think of, but it's a good, we spend a week where they can get their hands dirty and kind of do what we do. Like, they'll be wearing their own gear, spraying water, climbing ladders.
You get to do all the things.
All the things.
We do a video of the culmination, really, which is super fun because they do all the things. They actually get to rappel, and that's what we have video of from last year. Brianna, you actually were in Camp Courage.
Yes, so my freshman year of college, my mom signed me up. I originally didn't think it was something I'd be interested in. It was never a job career I even thought as a possibility. But I went to Camp Courage, started on Monday, and by Tuesday I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I finished school and applied for Topeka Fire.
I mean, it was that quick.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while. The hiring process was at least a year, give or take. It's different person to person, but I'm really happy I did it.
What was it about Camp Courage that made you think, dude, this is cool?
The girls, for one, the women and men I met there were all super supportive. No one looked at me any differently. They were all there to be encouraging and teach me. So I really liked that. And then just the job itself, it's not your typical desk job, and that's something I knew that I probably wasn't going to be great at. So it's been the perfect match.
And now here you are.
Here I am.
Anna, how did you get inspired to enter fire service?
To enter fire service, I actually do most of my childhood that I wanted to do something to help people. And then one day on Facebook, Shawnee Heights had posted a part-time hiring list, or
like job openings?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And then I just applied.
Why did you stick with it?
I love the job. I love the people. It's very family-oriented, more than most jobs would be.
So you're going to get to do Camp Courage?
Yes.
Have you helped out with it before?
Yes.
Okay.
I just missed the first year.
So what's the coolest thing that you see happen with the girls from day 1 to day 4?
I love watching the girls get inspired. Like come to rappelling. A lot of the girls start the day like, I'm not doing it. And by the time they do it, a lot of them cry through their first time too. And they get to the bottom and they're like, I want to do it again. And so that's probably one of my favorite things about it.
What about for you, Brenty? Why do you keep organizing it and thinking this is something we have to continue doing year after year?
Well, I think it's kind of like what Anna said. It's kind of like you don't know what you can do until you do it, and it's like, well, why not? And it's a great camp because, yeah, a lot of the girls come in, they either don't want to do it, their parents sign them up, or they're just scared of doing things, but just watching them overcome their fears in doing things, and I think it helps build their confidence, and it's really cool to see. And by the end of the week, they're all having a blast. So,
is there a cost for Camp Courage?
Nope, it is free.
It is free. Well, that's fantastic. Who supports it? Like everybody, of course.
Yeah, we have some sponsors, mostly like so Topeka Fire Department, like a lot of the gear we have, so we just fit them out in the gear, and then like our apparatus, like crews will come out throughout the week and help us with stuff, and we have a bunch of great instructors from surrounding departments that come help. So it helps the girls kind of see a bunch of different women in the field doing it, because you don't necessarily always see a female firefighter when you're out and about, but when you're at camp and you have 30-some women doing it, it's kind of a lot more inspiring.
And that's true. We say Topeka Fire, but it's all the surrounding departments, obviously, because Anna is here with Shawnee Heights, and you could be Brianna one day. Another story like that. June 2nd to the 6th is when this year's Camp Courage is. It is at Station 3 right downtown there on Southeast Jefferson, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. But get your applications in, folks, because this can fill up quite quickly. Topeka.org/TFD/camp-courage. I'll have the link on WIBW.com. Ladies, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Such a cool full circle moment to have Brianna in the studio talking about what inspired her to become a firefighter, and it was Camp Courage. Coming up in June, get your young ladies signed up if you think it would be a good thing for them. We wind down today by marking the 100th anniversary of a world-renowned psychiatric clinic, the Menninger Clinic. It got its start in Topeka, Kansas back in 1925. Today, it is based out of Houston, Texas, affiliated with the Baylor University College of Medicine. We were so honored to have in our studio a member of the founding family, Dr. Walt Menninger, along with the current CEO, Armando Colombo. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate it. And this is a lot of history, Dr. Walt. When your family started this clinic, it was your father, your uncle, your grandfather, correct?
Well, grandfather was a general practitioner in Topeka. It began in the 1890s. And he was distressed at that time. Doctors tended to be very private because you didn't have the kinds of medications you had today. And they would get techniques and they wouldn't want to share them, and he felt it was important to be able to be collegial and learn from one another. And after an educational meeting he went to in Rochester, Minnesota, where he visited the Mayo Clinic, he came back and he told his 3 boys, when you grow up, you become doctors and we'll establish a clinic here in Topeka like the Mayos in Mayo. That was the model. 2 of the 3 went into medicine. And the eldest, Carl, got interested in psychiatry. And Carl came back and grandfather said, that's fine, we can still practice together. But with patients that came for psychiatric care, could not always be easily managed in a general hospital setting. So they needed to have a sanitarium of their own. And so they needed money to buy the property. And CF and Carl established the Menninger Sanitarium Corporation and officially incorporated it April 1st, 1925, invited some townspeople to a meeting and sold stock in the Sanitarium Corporation. And that's how the Menninger Sanitarium and Clinic developed.
What was the approach that made what your family did different than perhaps what else was going on?
I don't know that I can say that very simply, other than that they created a total therapeutic environment in which all of the members who came in contact with the patients, not just a doctor, or ultimately a team of psychologists and social workers and so forth, that worked with the patient, had a collective view and understanding of what the problems of the patient were, and had then a coordinated approach, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And that was the key.
And all right there on the campus in Topeka. I think of this history, Armando, and the move to Houston in 2003 really was kind of born of that need for increased collaboration with a university setting. What still is true of that initial approach from the Menninger family to what we see from the Menninger Clinic today in Houston?
That's a great question. I think Walt, even though he said he didn't do it very succinctly, he did. What him and I like to call the ethos of the Menninger Clinic remains today, in that we have a multidisciplinary team that surrounds the patient. But I think the key to it is the patient is really involved in their care and their plan, which is very different than many organizations. Many organizations, the patient is told what's going to happen, whereas at the Menninger Clinic, and it remains today, the team surrounds the patient, but the patient is involved in every aspect of their care, their treatment, their goals, and the plan. And I think in addition, the three pillars of the Menningers, research, education, and patient care, remain today, with our training programs and our research, and of course our terrific patient care.
How important is it for you to honor that legacy in Topeka? Because part of the reason you're here today is there's a board meeting in Topeka.
Yes.
It still meets in Topeka. The celebrations for the centennial, there's one in Topeka, there's one in Houston. Why is it important to you to remember these Topeka roots?
So I got to know Dr. Walt and other members of his family, including his late brother Roy and his son John, who are members of my board in Houston and here in Kansas. And I felt it was very important for me to stay connected to Topeka. That may have not been what it was in the past, but it is now. So I come out a few times a year. Walt comes to Houston several times a year. When Walt is in Houston, his schedule is busier than mine. Over 2 days, he probably meets with 12 to 20 different employees by himself in a group, and continues to enthusiastically push our team to continue to do what we do, and it's, I think, what makes a big difference.
Well, the Roots in Mental Health, our station was initially on the what's now former Menninger campus. It's part of why we launched our Hear Me, See Me campaign, raising awareness of mental health, and it's why we're inviting all of you to the Menninger Centennial Reunion. It is taking place, the Topeka celebration, with a reception on May 2nd from 6 to 9 at Townsite Ballroom, and then there is an educational session that folks are invited to. The educational sessions are free, taking place at the Sunflower Foundation on May 3rd, but you do need to register. The Centennial reception is a $50 ticket. Go to menningerclinic.org/centennial to get in your reservation. Dr. Walt, Armando, always a pleasure. Thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
Again, the Menninger Centennial celebrations coming up in Topeka that first weekend in May. They also have celebrations planned in Houston for this fall in October. We had a much longer conversation with Armando and Dr. Walt. That will be dropping in my companion podcast, Hear Me, See Me, here in about a week or so. So be looking for that. Remember, you can see video of these interviews and all of our guests who appear with us on ION Northeast Kansas on WIBW.com. You can also see those links on my Facebook page, WIBW Melissa Bruner, along with our studio selfies. Hope you are having a great week. Until next time, we'll see you on the Red Couch.